Acknowledge me, the one.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Kick It to Scoops. I'm your host, Scoops, the sole admin of Scoops. Oh, when the Saints thumped the Doggers at Marvel Stadium, we gave them the old heave-ho. The Filippo train was delayed until this Friday night at the MCG in the Spud Frawley game, which is a great cause, and everyone should get around that. The Saints smashed the Dockers, gave them the old heave-ho. Flag mantle had been dismantled. Mitchie Elman's kicked a great goal. But none other than my man, my fellow Cooper Sharman, with a goal of the year contender from the boundary line. Here it is. I captured it in my matchday vlog, which is out now, which you can check. Go! Hammer. Sharman! Sharmanator! Magic from Cooper Sharman. Told you we don't miss earlier. What a superstar. No wonder he's got Cooper in his name, aren't you, Sharman? What a goal from Cooper Sharman. Oh, how good was that? What a great win it was. We quelled the influence of Andy Brayshaw and Caleb Sarong, who both combined had 28 disposals, and Jack Macrae had 38. Saints own them. Cal Wilkie and the Saints backline gave Josh Tracy a bath. He was held goalless. The team only got 5. One of those goals was from a unnecessary down the field free kick that we gave away. So we kicked them basically to 4 goals realistically. It's going to be technical 5, whatever. 4 or 5, doesn't matter. We slaughtered them. Jimmy Webster gave Shai Bolton a bath, who did absolutely nothing. 7 disposals with 0 impact. Jimmy Webster had 22 disposals of his own. Cal Wilkie on his own had 24 disposals and 14 marks. Many intercept possessions and 1%ers. So well done, you, Cal. Great work. Ross Lyon tactically destroyed the Dockers. The first half people were complaining about it, but I thought it was great. And yeah, we'll get into that in a bit more detail as well. I just wanted to mention that in case I forgot. Wow. Scoop Show's bang, I say every week, will be the most explosive ever. But when I do say that, I back up what I say, and that is that this is going to be another world-famous segment of Scoop Show's bang, the most explosive one to date in the 4-year history of this podcast, which we're almost at 4 years exactly in 2 weeks' time on a Tuesday, I believe. So not next week, not the Monday after. Will basically be the 4-year anniversary episode of this YouTube channel as a whole. So that'll be great as well. Obviously, I've had the Facebook page well before that for 12 odd years or more. So yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. Now, the genuine match fixing in the AFL in regards to the Collingwood Geelong game will be at front and centre of Scoop Joe's bang. The Willie Rioli threat that he made towards Bailey Dale. I know it's been resolved now, but I'm going to have my say on this and all that. Also, I'm going to be talking about Kane Cornes has got nothing to say about, and also Nick Watson giving the middle finger like Harley Reid did and Bailey Smith did to the crowd, which I thought was pretty poor from Nick Watson. That's not the first time he's done something that's got people angry with him. So that'll be involved in Scoop Show's bang. Team of the week, heavily debated. You know, it was a hard team to choose this week, but we'll have to wait and see which way I went with the team. Thought it was really hard to pick the midfield this week, to be honest. But yeah, here we are. Yeah, I was going to go through my Supercoach talk. I don't really want to talk about it, but I'm going to. I thought I scored all right, but, you know, when I tell you how I scored, you'll understand. And I'll review the rounds that's gone and upcoming. But first off, we'll start off with this. You want me on Cameo? Head to cameo.com/Cooper G. You want me to roast a friend with someone happy birthday? Anything at all. Cameo.com/Cooper G. If you know any AFL, AFLW players, any state league players, and you'd like to see them on the podcast in a Gold King Challenge and or interview, please do send me a message and we'll try and get something sorted. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for the world famous segment, Scoops Goes Bang. Well. where do I begin? Okay. Now, I'm going to start with Nick Watson giving the bird. First of all, Watto, whatever nickname you're going by, that's unacceptable, mate. It was immature of you to do that. It was immature of Harley Reid to do it and Bailey Smith to do it. They've all got a bit of an attitude problem. It's not because they've done that. That is a part of the reason why, but it's not the only reason why. They get aggressive, abusing people. Bailey Smith swearing at people online, and everything like that. So Watto, just worry about playing football. Stop flipping the bird to opposition supporters and actually just worry about getting a kick. Because trust me, there's been games where you should have been dropped and you've only kept your spot because of your draft pick number, which that should not matter. You keeping your spot in the team shouldn't worry about your draft pick selection. That shouldn't guarantee you a spot. And, well, for some reason it has. Now, Watto too, while I'm at it, see, stop being too busy flipping people off. Actually worry about kicking goals and actually getting a kick for starters. And last year, you were so inaccurate in front of goal. I wonder why, because you're too busy focusing on other things that you don't need to worry about. You're worrying about playing football, getting a kick, and learning how to kick straight. It's as simple as that. It's pretty simple. Pretty damn simple. So just lift your game, Watto. It's pathetic. Now, all right, now this is where that was just a warm-up. Now we're going to get more and more and more explosive. Oh, Volcano, Kane Cornes. Must be hard for you to see St Kilda smash Freo and Puele get slaughtered again in Ballarat. It must be really hard to see your favourite player, Jack Macrae, have the best individual performance for a midfielder this round. 38 possessions, 25 contested possessions, 15 clearances, 10 score involvements, a goal assist, 8 tackles. No good, you say. No impact. Isn't good enough to be in our midfield. Isn't good to be in anyone's midfield. Oh, gee, how he's proven you wrong. Jack Macrae is number one in so many statistics. It's not funny, Kane. So many stats that Jack Macrae is demolishing right now. The same stats that you bag him for, he's destroyed you in. Disposal efficiency, not disposal efficiency, score involvements, tackles, clearances, contested possessions. Jack Macrae leads all comers in all those key stats, if not first, in the top 3, but all of those 3 stats. It's about time you actually respect him. Now, apparently on SEN, you tried saying St Kilda were all right and then gave us a drive-by. Typical Kane Cornes, saying give us a full compliment. Where's your compliment of Jack Macrae? Oh, that's right. You haven't given one. That's right. You're wrong. You won't admit you're wrong. Why won't you just admit you got this wrong? You would save yourself so much more embarrassment if you just owned it in round 1 and 2. And I can't believe still, we bring in this guy, an experienced player, a 3-time All-Australian, an experienced midfielder, an accumulator, a great contested player, clearance, tackling. He does all that, Jack Macrae, and he's proven that yet again. Kane, how about you admit you got this wrong? He killed it in round 1 against Adelaide. You said he had no impact yet. He had like 35 disposals, and you were wrong. Geelong slaughtered them over 30. Richmond over 30 or so slaughtered them. He had a few lower possession games, but still had a lot of big impact. And on the weekend, he had his biggest game for the Saints. And you are nowhere to be seen when talking about Jack Macrae. I wonder why, Kane. The more you don't talk about Jack Macrae, I feel like that means you damn well know he's done well and you refuse to acknowledge that he has done fantastic and he is clearly the best trade-in recruit of the season. Matt Kennedy's been great, but Jack Macrae is far more superior than any other player that was traded in from another club from last year's trade period. Jack Macrae is a superstar. He's right now a certainty to make the All-Australian team. He should poll very, very well on the Brownlow medal. And if you don't have him in there, Kane, you are biased. You are on the panel again. You were basically indicating that he's not going to be in there like 2 weeks ago. So it just shows that you don't know what you're talking about, Kane. Jack Macrae is a 3-time All-Australian. So how about you show some respect on Jack Macrae? I've also remembered one more thing. I think we truly know why Kane Cornes does not like Jack Macrae. Number one, Jack Macrae has lasted more than 1 week in his job than Kane Cornes did. Number two, he also is a 3-time All-Australian, Jack Macrae. Kane Cornes is a 2-time All-Australian. So he's also triggered by that. And he also hates St Kilda. So it was funny, he was praising Jack Macrae at the Bulldogs, and now he's hating on him at the Saints and really shitting on his performances this year. Is that because, Kane, he's a 3-time All-Australian and you're a 2-time All-Australian? Is that why? Is that why, Kane? Is that truly why? Are you also jealous that Jack Macrae is a premiership player and you are not? That is now starting to sink in, Kane. You're jealous of Jack Macrae's success on the football field. A 3-time All-Australian, that's one more than you. He's a premiership player, one more than you. You got slaughtered in your grand final appearance by over 100 points against Geelong in 2007. That's completely embarrassing, Kane. That's embarrassing as a whole, and you were a part of that. And you lost. Jack Macrae in 2016 against the Swans, whether they were robbed the Swans or not, Jack Macrae won a premiership in 2016, Kane. You did not win one at all. He's won one more All-Australian than you. And no wonder you really wanted to be on the All-Australian panel, because now you're screwing Jack Macrae over by intentionally putting down his performances because you were so jealous that he should be a 4-time All-Australian and that it would then be 2 more than you, and he would still have at least a few more years to add more to his resume. See, it's starting to make more and more sense, Kane. He's a 3-time All-Australian. You're a 2-time All-Australian. He's a premiership player. You are not. His team won the premiership against the Swans in 2016, and you got absolutely slaughtered in one of the worst grand finals of history in 2007 by over 100 points. I don't remember the bloody margin off the top of my head because it's so bloody big, it's hard to remember a big margin like that. Downright embarrassing, Kane. Now I know why. More of a reason why. You hate Jack Macrae, you hate St Kilda, you're jealous of his success, and his success is better than yours has ever been on the football field. He's a 3-time All-Australian, you're a 2-time All-Australian, he's a premiership player, and you are not. And also, by the way, too, while we're at it, Jack Macrae has played just over 250 games now. His first game for the Saints was 250 games. We're now in round 9, so he's played, give or take, 258 AFL games so far. That's only 42 games away from Kane Cornes. Jack Macrae will probably play for at least another 3 or 4 years. So I'm starting to see this. He's trying to downplay him so much so that he doesn't break another record of his, and that's his game tally. And even if Jack Macrae wasn't to pass that games tally, he still has had a better career than you ever had. Jack Macrae is a superstar, Kane, and you're just jealous that he's better than you, and you know it. Thank you. Right. Wow, that was explosive. I know it was. But these next 2 topics, I think we're going to get more explosive. Now, the Willie Rioli, Bailey Dale situation started on the football field. Pushing and shoving and, pushing like that and everything like that. And Willie Rioli got fined for it. As I just said, you got the fine, Willie Rioli, for the on-field incident. And then more stories came out yesterday, on Monday, about, you made a threat towards Bailey Dale. And that was quoted by Tom Morris saying this. So basically, a different version of saying this was to, and I quote, this is what Willie Rioli wrote to a Bulldogs player to pass on to Bailey Dale, saying that he has lots of friends in the NT and he should be careful about leaving the hotel next week. So that's a threat right there. So just think about this, right? Just think about this. Now, I made a post about this, so I'm just going to reread that post to you and what I think. The AFL made a statement on this threat that apparently Willie Rioli has apologised to Bailey Dale. So he should apologise. But he also should never have made the threat. And what is more pathetic is that the AFL have basically said, or not basically, they have said this statement. The AFL has today spoken to both Port Adelaide and the Western Bulldogs, and while confirming it will take no further action to that undertaken by the clubs and players, it has reminded both clubs to ensure any communication remains respectful. So, make that make sense, okay? So, Willie Rioli won't be fined, suspended for threatening Bailey Dale, and no action will be taken, yet the AFL knew exactly what Willie Rioli said. That is completely, yet again, unacceptable from the AFL. You do not need a reminder to be respectful. You should be professional regardless. If you need reminding that you shouldn't do something like that, then you should be suspended. Simple as that. It's common sense, not to speak to anyone like that. Do not speak to anyone ever like that. So the AFL are happy to suspend players for a good tackle like Paul Curtis for 3 weeks, yet someone threatens someone's life and they're not even suspended, fined, anything at all. They're not banned, nothing. So how is that fair? Make that make sense. How does that set an example for younger players in men's and women's footy, local footy, state league footy, junior level footy, other sports, that the AFL suspend players for good tackling, like Paul Curtis did, and now this guy threatens someone? I don't care that he apologised. He shouldn't have got to the point where he has to apologise because he shouldn't have said it to begin with. This is completely unacceptable behaviour from Willie Rioli. He's also gotten aggressive on the football field and everything like that. He should be dropped. Now, Port Adelaide are not happy with what he said, and that's fine, right? But Port Adelaide should say to him, no matter what the AFL's outcome was, they should have said, Willie, you've overcrossed the line. You are going to play no football this week. You're either playing sample, which he shouldn't play any level of footy this week. He should be dropped permanently until he changes. He cannot be threatening someone and then be setting the example to say, basically, they're not happy with him, but he's still going to play anyway at this stage. And the AFL aren't suspending him. Why not? He's threatened someone. It's threatened someone's life. Tom Morris put the quote out there, and that was called a polite version, he said. So he threatened someone, and he's gotten away with it. How the hell does that make sense? You can't threaten someone like that, and then he's playing this week. But Paul Curtis has a great tackle, a good tackle, a rundown tackle on Josh Sin, and he gets 3 weeks. Make that make sense. It doesn't make sense. If you threaten someone, he should be suspended or banned from the competition. You're now setting the example as the AFL. The AFL had the perfect opportunity to suspend him for however long, and they chose not to. The guy made a threat, and nothing is happening. That is not right. That does not make sense. Willie Rioli should be suspended for what he did. Now, you want to talk about how long should he be suspended for? I don't know. But he should be suspended. You cannot do what he did, the threat he made to Bailey Dale, and get away with it. Port Adelaide should jump in front of this and say, mate, you're not playing at all this week until we feel you're ready to play again. Simple as that. If that's a month, if that's a whole year, if that's 4 weeks, whatever. But that sets a bad example for any level underneath the AFL, the state league, local, junior footy, that everyone's just seen, and the AFL has admitted, and Port have admitted, and the Bulldogs, that there was a threat made, and they're doing nothing about it, except for apologising. You shouldn't have been doing that to begin with. These are supposed to be professional athletes. You don't need to be a professional athlete to know that's not okay to say or do or whatever. That cannot be said. How anyone can say that and get away with it is ridiculous. The AFL needed to do something. They needed to suspend him for however long. No one can say that at all. Now you've set a bad example. The AFL, Willie Rioli, need to lift their game. That's unacceptable. I understand Port aren't happy, but no one should be happy with that. Now, I understand that Bailey Dale wants to move on. Bailey Dale obviously just doesn't want to talk about it or think about it anymore, and that's fair enough. But I would understand Bailey Dale if he doesn't want to play at any level this week. Now, Luke Beveridge had his presser today. It seems like Bailey Dale will play. That's great. But if Bailey Dale wanted to sit out this game, right, that's understandable. But if he was to sit out this game because of what just happened, then Willie Rioli shouldn't be allowed to play either. That's really, really poor from the AFL to allow that to happen and just say that, where was that quote? Both clubs need to ensure any communication remains respectful. That was the end of the quote. It's common sense you should be respectful. You don't need to remind someone to be respectful. He just threatened someone and you're just letting him off the hook with that. That's the AFL these days. Paul Curtis gets suspended for 3 weeks for a good tackle, and someone threatens someone and they get nothing. They're not even fined, by the way. Not even fined or suspended. That just doesn't make sense. Pathetic from the AFL yet again. Now, the match fixing in the Collingwood-Geelong game. Now, you can tell me what a great game it was, and sure it was. You can tell me that Collingwood shouldn't have coughed up the lead they had. No, they shouldn't. Did Geelong play better in the last quarter? Yes, they did. But there's a but. There's a reason why I say Geelong are the most protected club in the competition. And I don't want to hear excuses of people saying, oh, Collingwood get looked after every week, so they deserved it. That does not matter. You can think Collingwood get protected all you like, but that doesn't mean that they deserve to be screwed right in front of all of us to see. Doesn't mean because you think they're protected all the time that they deserved that. That doesn't matter. Geelong literally got handed this game by the umpires yet again. Now, Bobby Hill, great rundown tackle on Sean Manor. That's holding the ball. Now, people say, oh, that's a trip. I mean, you can debate that all you like, but the fact of the matter is, if you actually watch it properly, Bobby Hill's tackle started at Manor's knees, or just above his knee, or just on his knee. Then when they fell to the ground, obviously Bobby Hill's hands fell down, and it got near his ankle or whatever. So it actually started with a perfect tackle, and then when they hit the ground, that's then when the tackle looked like he tripped him. But they were already on the ground when that happened, so he didn't trip him. How can you trip someone when he's already on the ground? Make that make sense. It doesn't. That's just one ridiculous call. But this one, I'm not letting slide at all. And no, I would not accept that Geelong won fairly because they didn't. They cheated their way to another victory. And of course, the AFL have said nothing about this. What a shock. Now, Lachie Schultz had a shot at goal from about 45, 50 out on the right flank. And it looked like it fell short. Mark Blixarves did not touch that. Now, I know Blixarves went on TV and said, oh, I touched it. And in that moment, right? Think about this, okay? We know he didn't touch it. He's full of shit. But I don't blame him for saying that he touched it because anyone would say that. But think about this. In the moment, Blixarves did not react to touching it. Like sometimes you'll see one of those reviews, they'll go, no, I've touched it. He didn't do any of that. That's the sign of a man that knew he didn't touch it. So that right there should have clicked for the review and everything. Okay, normally everyone reacts even if they haven't touched it and say they have. Blixarves did not react in that moment. So that should tell you right there that he missed it. So the AFL have screwed Collingwood in this moment and protected Geelong yet again for the millionth time in a million years. Geelong are the most protected club not only in this competition, they are the most protected club in the world in any sport. By far. No one gets protected as much as Geelong do. Now, also in this goal review thing, Blicavs didn't touch it. End of story. And he knows he didn't. I mean, he says he did touch it, but he's not going to say anything else. So I don't blame him for saying that, but we know he didn't touch it. If you watch the footage back, his hand didn't bend, the ball didn't deviate, it went the same way. Blicavs' hands didn't move. Blicavs didn't appeal for it in that moment on the field. I don't know if any other Geelong player reacted, but it doesn't matter because Blicavs is the one in question here. He didn't react. Now, the goal umpire looked uncertain, right? But he looked like he was going to give it the soft call, as they have to give a soft call, a goal. Then the boundary umpire, who has no say in what a goal umpire can do, especially when it revolves a goal, if it's around the behind post, whatever, but the boundary umpire has no say, and I've spoken to people that umpire, they have no say in a goal review for a goal at all. The boundary umpire in that moment, in question, he sprinted to the goal umpire while the central umpire was talking to the goal umpire, started slapping his hand saying he touched it, and basically forced the goal umpire to change his soft call decision, which was a goal, and then made him change it to a behind. Then the actual review person said insufficient evidence to overturn it. So, in other words, that that boundary umpire screwed Collingwood over. Gee, did that boundary umpire support Geelong or something? Because, my God, he was so adamant. But that's not your job, mate. It's just like saying someone in the crowd can tell the goal umpire what to do. That's what he just did. Yeah, you're a boundary umpire and the fans are the fans, but that's not your job. Your job is to do the boundary umpiring. How about you do that and let the goal umpire worry about his job and let the central umpire worry about his job, and you worry about your own role as the boundary umpire. Now, I don't know this guy's name and it doesn't really matter, but that boundary umpire should not be umpiring this week, and when the finals come around, he should not be umpiring as a boundary umpire in the final series at all. If that's the case, that's a disgrace. So the boundary umpire influenced the goal umpire's decision when it wasn't his call to make. He didn't ask for his opinion. He didn't look at the boundary umpire to see what he thought. The goal umpire was a bit hesitant, and that's fair enough. That's what the review's for. He was going to give the soft call as a goal. The central umpire spoke to him, about all that. Then that's when the boundary umpire inserted himself in the situation that's got nothing to do with him, and it's not his call, slamming his hand, saying it's touched, or whatever he said. But he was slapping his hand, implying it was touched, right, in his eyes. That's not your call to make. It's not the crowd's call to make. That's the goal umpire's call to make. And then the central umpire really shouldn't have much input at all. These days you see central umpires run up to the goal umpires and tell them what to do and tell them to review it, even if the goal umpire doesn't ask for it. So let the goal umpires do the goal umpiring job. The boundary umpire can stay away and do his own job, and that's learning to throw the ball in properly and seeing what ball's out of bounds or not. Because we've seen a lot of games where the boundary umpires, the balls go out and they don't pay them out of bounds. We've seen ones where they're in play and they paid out of bounds. Like, worry about your own job and get that right, and let the goal umpire do his own job. And the central umpire should worry about not protecting Geelong so much. Ridiculous. Collingwood got robbed right in front of me. If you don't think Collingwood were robbed in those two incidents, in particular this one, you are just as delusional as that boundary umpire and Geelong. That was not touched by Mark Blicavs at all. That's a clear goal. I understand they wanted to review a big moment in the game and everything like that. That's fine. But the boundary umpire has no say in overruling a goal umpire's goal review decision. That's led for the review guy in the box and the goal umpire. The central umpire has no say in that either. I don't know why they insert themselves as well, but in this case, the goal umpire wasn't certain, so I understand why the central umpire went to ask him what he thought. But shouldn't be impacting and influencing his decision. The goal umpire should make that decision because that's his job. He's the goal umpire. He's the one that calls whether it's a goal or not the central and not the boundary umpire. The boundary umpire just inserted himself and screwed Collingwood over. And of course, the AFL said that they're in the wrong there. Typical. Another incident where they haven't admitted they're wrong. Lift their game. Lift your game, sorry. Pathetic. The AFL, that boundary umpire, and Geelong being protected yet again. It's pathetic. Hope you guys and girls enjoy that long, explosive edition of the world-famous segment, Scoops Goes Bang. So now it is time for my Scoops Round 8 AFL Team of the Week. From the back line, the pockets, Jimmy Webster and Josh Battle. Full back, Callum Wilkie. Half back line, the flankers, Bailey Dale and Josh Dacos. Centre half back, Max Michael Lanny, sorry. Wingers, Ed Richards and Massimo D'Ambrosio. Centreman, Finn Callahan. Half forward line, the flankers, Mitch Owens and Isaac Rankin. Centre half forward, Cooper Sharmanator. Forward pockets, Jack Gunston. Other pocket, Jack Ginnivan. Full forward, Brody Myercheck. Ruck, Tim English. Rovers, Jack. 3-time All-Australian, over 250 games, premiership player, Jack Macrae. And the other Rover, Zach Merritt. Interchange, Max Gawn, Tom Green, Changworth Giath. And a very special moment for this family, Will and Levi Ashcroft. The emergencies, Tristan Cherry, Darcy Cameron, Took Miller, and Ryan Marrick. Now, reasons for these selections. So let's put the banner up, shall we? So, this was a hard team to make in terms of the back line. Like, I feel like this really, really could have gone any way. I mean, Jack Ginnivan got 2 goals in 22. Gunston kicked 3 in 15. Mitch Owens, 3 goals in 18 and destroyed his opponent in Brennan Cox. Also, Rankin kicked a couple of goals with his 26 disposals. Cooper Sharman is him, the Sharmanator. Goal of the year contender on the weekend, which I just showed before that I got on my own film. So he kicked 4, 18, could have kicked 5 or 6. Missed a few goals he could have got. That 4 line, and Brody Myercheck kicked 4. They were not going to be replaced by anyone else. Jimmy Webster had 21 disposals, gave Bolton a bath. They had like 14 marks, 7 marks, sorry, and he did really well. Quality influence of Shy Bolton, who's been a player that sometimes has gone all right against the Saints, and Jimmy Webster said, "They're not on my watch, pal." This is why Jimmy Webster is a good player and a reliable player and will always be in the team. Cal Wilkie, 24 disposals, 14 marks, superstar, intercept king. He marked so well. He led the defence so well with Webster and Sinclair and co. We just destroyed their forwards. Josh Battle, the ex-Saint, 29 disposals, a lot of marks. He deserved a spot. Fun fact, that whole back three are all St Kilda or ex-Saints, which I'm sure that'll get people sooking, but they all warranted a spot. Bailey Dale, 31 disposals. He beat his opponent on the weekend on the field. Josh Dacos, 34 disposals. He beat his opponent on the weekend. He was on fire, Josh Dacos. Max Michelani, 24 disposals, did really well. A lot of intercepts. And Josh Dacos, I said 34. I should have added as well. So that's his selection. Michael Lanny. Ed Richards kicked 2 and 31. He deserved a spot in the team. Massimo had 2 and 34. So he deserved it. Finn Callahan had 33, like 9 clearances and deserved a spot in the team. The ruck spot, well, Jack Macrae, 38 disposals, 25 contested possessions, 15 clearances, 10 score involvements, 8 tackles and a goal assist. best player for the round for me was Jack Macrae. Superstar performance, colossal performance from Jack Macrae. Zach Merritt, 37 disposals, single-handedly, yet again, got the Bombers over the line against another bottom team in North Melbourne who were competitive this week. So, again, I'll give them credit for doing that. And Merritt was fantastic. Max Gawn, 1 goal, 35 disposals, beat Matt Flynn by like 29 in hitouts. Now, I'm going to explain in just a second why I went Max Gawn over Tim English, because I know this is going to be heavily debated. Tom Green, a goal in 34, deserved it. His efficiency probably kept him out of the starting team. Changworth Giles at 32 disposals was a lock at half back. Will Ashcroft, not because he got best on ground in terms of the Marcus Ashcroft medal, which is their dad's award. Will was great with 34 disposals and like 17 contested possessions. Levi Ashcroft was fantastic, 29 disposals. So he definitely warranted a spot. Tristan Cherry, Darcy Cameron, Tuke Miller, and Ryan Marrick. Ryan Marrick was the next half-back line player to make the team. Tuke Miller was the next mid-forward to make it. Darcy Cameron was great for Collingwood against when Reece Stanley went off. It was recently before that. And then Mark Blixarves and Sam DeConing. So most other weeks, Darcy Cameron probably would have got in. Same for Tristan Cherry. He had 25 disposals and beat Goldie in the hairs by like 30. So he can consider himself gypped. I was actually really tempted to put 3 rucks in it this week, but I went against it. I probably should have done it, but I didn't. Now, it doesn't really matter. If you're in the team, if you're on the field or on the bench, it doesn't really make a major difference. But I was debating this one long and hard. Who goes on the field, who doesn't? Now, Tim English kicked 3 goals, 27 disposals, 3 goal assists, but a whopping 17 score involvements. Now, I understand that Max Gawn got 35 disposals and a goal and destroyed Matt Flynn in the hitouts, where English lost the hitouts to Jordan Sweet by 10 somehow. Jordan Sweet is a hack. As simple as that. Max Gawn played against Matt Flynn, who's also a hack. So that balances that part out. Tim English kicked 3 goals. Gawn got 1. English kicked 2 more goals. Max Gawn had 10 score involvements. English had 17. So English has got 2 more goals and 7 more score involvements. 7 score involvements on its own is fantastic, but 17, that's unheard of. 3 goal assists, that's also 3 more than Max Gawn. So he wins in that department. Max Gawn does beat him in disposals by 8 and by hitouts by like 15, but that's about it. So I balanced the 2, 7 more score involvements, 3 more goal assists against 8 more disposals and 15 more hitouts. You balance that all together. I wanted to put them both on the field, but I couldn't separate both of them. It took me long and hard. This took a good night last night to think about this, and today as well. So I've went with Tim English. So any Melbourne fans that are going to get shitty, it's okay. He's still on the team. He was still fantastic. He was still enormous. He was still fantastic. But so was Tim English. So it's a really, really hard one to choose here. And that's the way I've gone with it. So, yeah. Now, I mentioned Ginnivan. He got 2 goals and 22 disposals. So I don't know if I mentioned that, but that's why he's also in the team. So, yeah, comment down below your thoughts on my round 8 Scoops AFL team of the week. All right. So now let's go through my Supercoach talk. Well, I had a good score, but a bit like last week. It was a good score, a very good score, but a score where it's just for the round compared to others, an okay score. I scored 2,275. Now, I'd be really happy with that in a normal week, but a lot of people were getting 2,400 again. So last week I was in the top 8%, then dropped to top 10% off the same thing, and the same thing's happened again. Scored well, but a lot of people got 2,400. So I've dropped another 2%. So now I'm in the top 12%. It's frustrating, but it is what it is. Now, my leader in my Supercoach Fan Club League is now Cameron, whose team name is The Factory. He's in first place. Shano is second. And I'm like 34th or something. So, we'll see what happens. And hopefully can crack into the top 10 at some point towards the end of the year, because it's going to be a long road to get in there, because, you would need those teams above you to score like 300 less than you multiple times in the season. So, or have a gigantic advantage in the bye rounds, maybe. That could be where it could be chosen whether I'm going to be a chance for top 10 or not. So I'll have to wait and see. Now, I'm pondering a few moves this week. I don't really like talking about what trades I would look and do because people seem to copy me as they did last year. Just remember, I won the weekly prize 2 years ago or so, maybe 3 years ago now. So I do know what I'm talking about. I finished in the top 10% pretty regularly. So, yeah, if you want to take my advice, then that's your fault and not mine. And don't blame me when you go bad. Now, there's one thing I will say about this. Max Cornes, he's like 670,000. His break even was like 33. I don't care how much money you got in the bank, whether you can afford it. Number one, do not do sideways trades like that. Don't go from DeConing to Gawn or Cherry or Marshall or Flynn to Gawn. It's just not worth the cash. You're going to blow your whole budget on one player who could quite easily pull out at 80, and then everyone will lose their minds. Now, I understand he's going to go up, so if you're getting him, it's this week or never. He's already at 670. Think through. For people that are thinking about sideways trading your premium ruck to Max Gawn, think again. Because you'd be wasting all your hard-earned money to upgrade, and you're probably blowing the rest of your team out just for Max Gawn to come in. Now, will he probably get 130 this week? Probably. But it's not worth the money jump. It's not worth trading a premium for a premium. Your whole point of making money is to upgrade your rookies, not to sideways trade your premiums. Like, it's just not for that, okay? So just don't do that, okay? Just don't do it. If you're bringing Max Gawn, wasting your money for a sideways trade, or blowing your whole budget out to bring in Max Gawn, or wasting a boost just to bring in Max Gawn, think again. Not going to say I told you so. I was thinking about whether I would put him in, and I did a test run where I trade maybe a Murphy Reed or a Sam Davison and downgrade one, upgrade one, and downgrade a second one and use Max Gawn as the upgrade. It's just not worth it. Because in my examples of trying it, I would probably be left with a defender, the last defender on my field being someone that's on the cusp of being dropped or is currently dropped and may not get back in or might get back in and might come in for a week. So it's just not worth doing. And Matt Carroll, who I've currently got on the bench, is just not worth putting on the field, and he might be dropped this week against the Saints. So we'll wait and see. Saints will get back Mason Wood, and my man Mateus all aboard the Filippo train. Hopefully both those two come in for probably for Collard and I had a blank. Who was the other one? Maybe for Caminiti, but we'll wait and see what the Saints do. There's another name. I've had a complete blank. Travaglia was a sub, so it could be for him. I'm happy with Trav staying in, but I still want Wood and Filippo to come in. So if he has to go out, he has to go out. And Taru's suspension length is still 4 weeks, by the way, which is ridiculous. Finally, some common sense from the AFL to some degree, which they should have done it from the start, so they got it wrong. The bye week shouldn't count as a week when it's a VFL bye, not an AFL bye. St Kilda play this week. He didn't play this week, so it's a week suspension already started. So you can't say this VFL shit, but they fixed that. They've adjusted that, but he should never have been suspended at all. That's still ridiculous. So that's my Supercoach score. Comment down below how you went, how you reckon you'll go this week, what trades you're pondering. Let me know how you go. If you want to join the fan club league, 300-210. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, 300-210 is the AFL Scoops fan club Supercoach league to join. Now, let's review the round 8 game, shall we? Started on Thursday night at at Marvel. Essendon 65, West Coast. Oh, God. Essendon, well, they were close against West Coast by 3 points or something, or 2 points too. Essendon 65, North Melbourne 62. Essendon by 3 points. Zerha and Larky missing easy shots again. Given the chance to win, they blow it. Finbar Malley, the debutant, got called to play on. Everything like that. It's just like, come on. Now, Jai Simpkin kicked a good goal and shushed the crowd. Kane Cornes is picking on Jai Simpkin again. Typical Kane Cornes. I should have mentioned this before in Scripts Bang. But Kane Cornes, stop your obsession with Jai Simpkin. Is that another player that might beat some records that you don't have, or he's had a career that you wanted and you didn't get? Like, I don't get it. The Harry Sheezel stuff was over the top that you said as well. But yeah, pathetic Kane yet again. North Melbourne, though, they had some chances. Finbar Malley had a chance. Had more chances. Essendon are so damn lucky Jack Macrae plays for them. If he ever left to go to my Saints in last year's trade period, they'd be so bad, they would lose by so much. They are so lucky. Archie Perkins hit 3 and 15. He was okay, mainly in the first half, went missing in the second half when the Roos were coming back. Credit to the Roos for coming back, putting in a good effort. Sheezel was terrific. But, it is what it is. The next game to go through is my Saints and the Dockers. Saints by 61 points, 33-94, 5-3, 33. It was a Ross Lyon masterclass coaching role. Quell the influence of Sarong and Brayshaw, who had a combined 28 disposals between them. That's pathetic. That's an average of 14 for people that can't count. 13 for Sarong and 15 for Brayshaw, or whatever order it was. That's pathetic. Just remember, Hugo Garcia, who got the rising star for the round. Well done, Hugo. Proud of you, mate. Hugh Boxall could have got it as well, one of the two. But Hugo played on Sarong, who did absolutely nothing. It wasn't even a tag. Windy didn't even tag anyone, Ross said, so makes it even better and more sweeter that Sarong and Brayshaw did nothing. I know Hayden Young done his hamstrings, unfortunately, potentially out for the year, if not most of the year at best, unfortunately for him. But the Saints, terrific. Marshall was great in the ruck. Webster and Wilkie and Sinclair in the backline were fantastic. Sharman and Owens were fantastic up forward with Higgins. So, Tracy doing absolutely nothing was fantastic. Shai Bolton doing nothing was fantastic. Sarong and Brayshaw doing nothing was fantastic. We just destroyed them all around the park. Now, people were questioning the level of standard of this game, saying how boring it was in the first half. No. We just destroyed them in every facet. We kicked 4 goals ourselves. It's like 27-7 at halftime. I don't care. We were so defensively strong that we weren't allowing them to score. We tactically destroyed them. Justin Longmuir, said post-game how good we were. And, that we were fantastic, he said, and gave huge credit to Jack Macrae. That's one thing. An opposition coach has already given more credit to Jack Macrae in one game than Kane Cornes has this entire season since he's moved across to the Saints. Think of that. Let that sink in. Justin Longmuir, who's only got to talk about Saints when they play Saints, has already credited Jack Macrae's insane performance more times than Kane Cornes has all year, and he's been able to talk about him 60 bloody times, where Longmuir has only talked about him once, and he's praised him once. So well done, Justin. Now, his coaching job may be in question, though, not from just this game, just in general. Freo fans aren't happy. He might get an extra year. I think he did get an extra year too, which is interesting. So, we'll see what happens there. But, it is what it is. Great win for my Saints. And Alex Pearce was Freo's only good player. The rest were utterly disgraceful. And speaking of disgraceful, Port Adelaide was shit. Western Bulldogs won by 90 points in Ballarat, 131-41. I mean, I'm not giving any credit to any Port Adelaide players. They were just completely and utterly shit. All of them. Jason Horne-Francis, 20 disposals, 63%, 8 turnovers. That's just pathetic for a so-called good name, Kane, eh? How good was he? Give him the money, Kane. You love people that butcher the ball? Well, Horne-Francis is your guy, as he clearly is your favourite player. But they were shit. Tim English, 3 goals, 27 disposals, 17 score involvements, 3 goal assists, like 8 clearances. Phenomenal. Adam Treloar, a goal and 27 on return, was terrific. Ed Richards, 2 and 31. He was fantastic. Bailey Dale, 31 disposals. He was fantastic. Great win for the Bulldogs, and oh boy, how bad for the Power. That was embarrassing. Adelaide and Carlton, speaking of embarrassing, Adelaide 110, slaughtered Carlton 50 by 60 points at Adelaide Oval. Paddy Cripps, 2 and 24 was great. The rest of the team was pretty crap. For the Crows, Dawson, Rankin, Max Michelani, and co were really good throughout the team performance. Besides those players, the rest of it was a really even contributors of performances. They were really good, and Carlton were shit. Simple as that. West Coast 76, Melbourne 108. 32-point victory to the Demons. Halftime, West Coast were winning by a point, or they were winning late in the second, and then Melbourne went front by a point at halftime. Something like that. Anyway, McGovern went off with concussion. How Jake Meltram didn't get suspended for that is completely and utterly ridiculous. Another player that shoves someone into oncoming traffic and doesn't get suspended. That's, again, typical AFL and their ridiculous calls. Anyway, So McGovern went off. No Harry Edwards in this game. So they got Oscar Allen, who's a key forward. We know that, the captain, the co-captain, as their only tall defender, and he's not even a defender. So they were screwed. And that's what happened. Gawn took over. Petrarca played really well. Daniel Turner got 3 goals when the game was over, but still 3 goals. But yeah, it's tough times for the Eagles. Andrew McWalter has got no one to blame on himself. And why they did not appeal the Bo Allen ridiculous suspension, it was unintentional. It was not like Patrick Voss's. They should have appealed that. He just looked like he wasn't timing that spoil Bo Allen. He didn't go in there to whack Jack Viney. He went there to spoil the ball and just completely mistimed it. I don't know why they didn't appeal it, and I don't know why he got a week to begin with. And number one, he wasn't concussed, considering the AFL only go off the outcome these days, it seems. So why was he suspended? Doesn't make sense. The next game was the match-fixing game. Collingwood 87, robbed by Geelong 90. Geelong won by a rigged 3 points. Great game, though. Great game. You know, Darcy Cameron, Josh Dacos, Brody Mychek were terrific. Geelong Bailey Smith went all right. Dangerfield was on fire in the last quarter, according to some people. But yeah, you know, Geelong deserved to come back, but in typical Geelong fashion, they won due to match fixing. And they were robbed, the Pies, right in front of me. So simple as that. I went through it before. I'm not going through it again. Credit to Geelong for coming back, but they didn't deserve to win because they got screwed. Collingwood, that was, right in front of me. Already talked about that game, so I'm not talking about it no more. Right, the next game we're going to go through is the Sunday games, the Giants and Sydney. I'm not going to spend too much time on the other 2 games, so the other 2 games were just boring. Sydney 87, GWS 73, Swans by 14 points. Jake Stringer was the sub, kicked 3 goals after coming on at halftime. Toby Bedford, I don't know if he was officially concussed, but he had a concussion test, came back on, and then went back off. It didn't come back on after halftime. So Lewis Malikan got 3 weeks. I expected it. I probably thought this one wasn't like Patrick Voss's at all. I feel like this should have been 1, 2 max, not 3. But it was clumsy. It was a little bit different to Bo Allen. Bo Allen was more of a spoil thing, where Malikan's was very similar, but a bit more aggressive. Hence why I'm fine with him getting 1 or 2. 2 max. 3 is just outrageous. Patrick Voss intentionally lined up Nick Loston at that point in time, so big difference there. But yeah, this game was good for most part. Sydney, you know, great start. The Giants were trailing from then on, 5-goal lead at quarter time or something for the Swans. The Giants, to their credit, the Orange Tsunami, they stick in it. They actually know how to be competitive. They were really good. And Callahan and co in the midfield, Tom Green, were very good. Briggs wasn't good in the ruck. I thought Brody Grundy was a bit quiet as well. So neither ruck really stamped their authority on the game. Sam Taylor, has his form changed a little bit, do you feel? Comment down below what you think. People have been saying his form hasn't been that great. I'd love to know your thoughts. But the Swans got the win. Angus Sheldrick, who was their sub, he got a nice goal late after Stringer got 3 in the second half to ice the game for the Swans. Angus Sheldrick, Caden Cleary also played okay. I would know. I'm going to be in my Supercoach team still. All right, the 2 boring games, Hawthorn 109, Richmond 44, Hawthorn by 65 points. Unfortunately for Richmond, they weren't good in this game at all. Hawthorn won this game at quarter time by 5-6 goals. So unfortunately, that was it for Richmond. Tom Lynch, people are saying, should he be dropped? Should he be dropped? Probably not, because it'll just make the team worse. And he always takes the best defender and helps the younger players in the side get the number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 defenders. So he probably has to play. But if he continues to be poor, he should be dropped. Keeping in mind, he kicked 3-3 the week before, so against Melbourne. So, no, he should give him another chance or 2, but he wasn't good on the weekend at all, but neither was half the team. So, but Richmond, they could bounce back against West Coast this week, which they probably will. I don't know. Jesus. Brisbane 66, Gold Coast 49 in the Q Clash. I understand the game was wet. Brisbane won by 17 points, but this was a boring game. People want to bag the Saints game. Well, bag this game. This was just as boring, and it stayed boring for the entire game. Gold Coast got a few cheap goals to make the margin look closer than it actually was. Tuke Miller was Gold Coast's best player, but outside of that, they didn't really have anyone else. Brisbane, the Ashraf brothers, Neil was solid as well. So Charlie Cameron finally had a good game this year. He's been out of form, but, it is what it is. Now we're going to finish with previewing the round 9 games. So the game that starts on Thursday night at Optus Stadium in Perth, 8:10 Victorian time. It's Freo hosting Collingwood. Now, Brodie Myercheck will miss with an abdominal strain. Jordan De Goey, Brandon Maynard and Scott Pendlebury all being managed this week, says Craig McRae today. So I was going to tip Collingwood, but no, I still am. Freo was shit against us, so I'm tipping Collingwood by 10 points, but not confidence because of Collingwood managing 3 of their 4 outs. Jeremy Howe, though, should be back, which is good for the Pies. Friday night at the MCG in the Danny Frawley game, the Spud game, Saints, Carlton, MCG, 7:40 p.m. Victorian time. Get there if you can. Great cause. I'm going for my Saints to get the job done and win by 15 points. Hopefully Filippo and Mason Wood are back this week, and hopefully Dan Butler next week. If not this week, that'd be great. And Hunter Clark could be in calculations to come in this week. Also, Saturday at the MCG, 1:20 p.m. Victorian time. It's Melbourne hosting Hawthorn. I'll be tipping Hawthorn this one by 38 points. Saturday at Marvel Stadium, 4:15 p.m. Victorian time. It's Essendon hosting Sydney. I'll be tipping the Swans in this one by 48 points. Saturday night in Darwin at TIO Stadium, it's Gold Coast hosting the Western Bulldogs. 7:35 p.m. Victorian time. I'm tipping the Gold Coast to win this one by 8 points. They play really well in Darwin. They won 2 games there last year. 8:10 p.m. Saturday night at the Adelaide Oval. It's the showdown. Port Adelaide hosting the Crows. I'll be tipping the Crows in this one by 48 points. So, yeah, that's those games. And then obviously we've got the games on Sunday as well. So let's start off with the first Sunday game, of course, and that is Richmond hosting West Coast at the MCG, 1:10 p.m. Victorian time. I'll be tipping Richmond in this one by 10 points purely because it's at the MCG. And McGovern will be out, so Tom Lynch may kick 5. 3:20 p.m. at GMHBA Stadium, 3:20 p.m. Victorian time at GMHBA on Sunday. It's Geelong hosting the Giants. I'll be tipping the Giants in this one by 12 points. They've beat Geelong in Geelong before. Last year, I think it was, when Leke Lear was playing and took a great mark and had a great career game and should be at the Saints this year. Leke Lear, I would love to have him at the Saints. So we're going the Giants to win back-to-back games in Geelong against Geelong by 12 points this game. And the final game of the round to end the round, I was going to say end the game. End the round. You might as well end it there because the next game is North Melbourne and Brisbane at 4:40 p.m. in Hobart. This is not a marvel. I just realised this is in Hobart. Twilight, 4:40 p.m. on Sunday. North Melbourne hosting Brisbane. I'm going Brisbane in this one by 67 points. North do play all right in Tassie, but Brisbane should really, if they're on, they're going to be on, and they're going to slaughter North Melbourne. Hopefully North Melbourne, for their sake, they can be competitive. They've shown that the last few weeks, so that's great for them. When I was saying that, I said that they needed to be competitive. Even if they're losing, they need to be competitive, and they hadn't shown that at the start of the year. But now they're starting to show that against Port in that close loss that they should have won. Larky and Zerha could kick straight, they win. And then on the weekend, they should have beat Essendon. So if they can continue that, that's great, but I don't see them. They may be competitive, but they're not winning this game. They're going to get slaughtered by the Brisbane Lions. And if Brisbane lose this, they're going to need to take 5 players out next week. So, yeah, Brisbane by 67 points. Now, my final thoughts are simply this. You want me on Cameo? Head to cameo.com/Cooper G. Want me to roast a friend with someone having a birthday? Anything at all, cameo.com/Cooper G. And if you know any AFL, AFLW players, any State League players, and you would like to see them on the podcast in a goal kicking challenge and or interview, please do send me a message and we'll try and get something sorted. Thank you all, and go the Saints, and acknowledge me, the one, and all aboard the Filippo train. Then, now, forever, together, forever. Go Saints.